Somebody's in need of a bath. So, we just pulled the 8235R out of the shed, and it's been sitting in there all summer long, as you can probably tell from the atrocious amount of dust on the hood. So I'm going to pull this into closer to the milk house, and then probably going to wash it down. We have some detergent that I'm going to use, basically just soap, that I'm going to spray on it and help keep that shine, being as that harvest should be right around the corner. The corn is still green, but the ears are starting to dry up, and the beans are drying down as well. But I'm going to pull this over there. Once I'm done with this, might wash the 46 and the 4020 as well. But at the end of today, I'm going to head out to my 25-acre hayfield and see what that looks like. I haven't been out there in a while. We've been getting a lot of rain, and I haven't really even wanted to look at it just because I know we can't make it if I wanted to, which I kind of do. But since it is first year new seeding, they say, it's not always the worst thing to let it just sit. That's what we used to do back before 2014 when we were still doing dairy, and the hay turned out pretty well. But the stand out there, the last time I saw it, wasn't looking too hot. I wasn't really impressed by it. But yeah, towards the end of this video, we're going to head out there and have a look. Right back in the shed. It's gonna collect more dust, but it's supposed to keep on raining, so at least I got the dust off, and there's not a layer, or it's not caked on there anymore. So now we are standing out in my 25 acre, what's supposed to be an alfalfa field, but looking down, I really don't see much alfalfa where I'm standing. So I'm not really sure where all this grass came from. This was in contours last year, and I believe the majority of it was corn and beans. I'm not totally sure what this was where I'm standing at now, but if you look down, you can see that there is some alfalfa under there, like right there, but a solid majority of it are grasses. And I'm not totally sure if we're going to be able to get out here and harvest this. The weather is looking rather spotty. So, as many of you know, oh, look at this. Looks like a deer bed down here. As many of you know, the weather has not been cooperating all the best. So, depending on what it does here in the next couple weeks, you don't want to go through, and depending on what I do with this anyway, you typically on an alfalfa field, you don't want to go through and knock out the alfalfa right before a frost, because getting this late in the year, you never really know what the weather's going to do, when it's going to freeze. And there isn't any freezing in the forecast right now, but it really could just be like the flip of a light switch and things could change just like that. So I'm going to keep a close eye on the weather. typically what you want to do is cut it, at least in this area, cut it early September, and then let the alfalfa grow back, because as you let the alfalfa grow back before the freeze, what it does is it stores carbohydrates or energy in the roots, and that will reduce your winter kill. Whereas if you knock it out and then it freezes, the plant is going to have less energy there as it tries to rebuild those carbohydrates back in the roots before that freeze. What you can do is knock it out right after it freezes, because then basically all plant processes pretty much stop, and that's pretty much that with alfalfa. But looking at this, I'm not totally sure what I'm going to do here. Since the alfalfa stand really isn't all that great, I don't know what it's going to look like next year. I'm kind of banking on keep a close eye on it, see what comes back next year, and then either keep it in hay, grass, alfalfa, or just go ahead and chisel it and put it back into corn and beans, which in hindsight I'm starting to think maybe I should have done that in the first place, because since this was contoured, I put everything into hay, or I seeded everything down to alfalfa. So now, I mean, if you look out across the field, you can tell that where the contours were. And there's different amounts of grass growing up in different areas. This is just one spot. On other strips, the alfalfa has actually grown back much better. Like this spot right in here, there's quite a bit of alfalfa in there. I mean, it's pretty dense. If we were to come through and knock this out, we might have a good stand of alfalfa there, but there's just so much grass in this. And I'm not totally sure where it came from, but grass can stay in the soil for years before propagating. And I just have to keep a close eye on it. Should have planted around a pretty alfalfa. That would have really helped. But live and learn. If we could get out here and make this, it really wouldn't be a bad crop. It's just looking at the forecast, I don't really want to take that risk, because we'll knock it down and then surely enough it'll start raining. Monday morning I got to the farm and I'm like, should I go out and cut this? And Travis is like, have you looked at the forecast? And I'm like, yeah, it looks clear. And then Dad has a different weather app and he said, well, it's supposed to rain tomorrow night. And surely enough, when I looked at my weather app and I actually clicked on the day, it rained last night. And all this would still be on the ground and we would not get it made, because they are calling for pretty heavy storms later in this week. But I'm going to give it till next spring and see if it's a majority alfalfa or all the grasses come back, which they've grown up enough to the point now where it really can't be helped. I'm sure it's going to look pretty similar next year as well. I think it would have helped if we had a roller to roll the seed. We have that first harrow, which is rather aggressive. I think that combined with the amount of rain that we got right after we seeded this down, I want to say that the alfalfa probably got smothered out, is what I'm starting to think. I've been keeping a close eye on this, but it's just been, the alfalfa just hasn't been coming through. There's really not much there. Got some small ones right there. If I could get out here and cut this, I'd have a better picture on what it's going to look like come next spring. We may be done cutting hay this year, depending on what the weather does, and it looks like it's going to keep on raining. At least that's what the forecast says. And as it gets later and later, I don't really think we're going to be able to get out here and make this, because by the time the weather clears up, it's going to freeze probably, because the forecast right now is calling for rain clear into the first third of October. And usually around then is a pretty good estimate for when we could be getting the first frost. And if I feel like we can get out here after it freezes, then you guys will probably be seeing that. I feel like if we could actually get out here and cut this before the freeze, I might have a better idea on what's going on underneath. But it's just hard to say right now. A lot of switchgrass. That's pretty much it for this vlog. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to check out all of our other videos. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And be sure to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. all how farms work. Harvest is going to be starting very soon, and we've got a couple announcements that I'm probably going to be talking about in another video, so stay tuned for that. I'll see you next time, guys.